Hey hey, ici Frankie de Alankyy dans mon nouveau setup et bienvenue à The Stanley Parable. Vous êtes en train de jouer à The Stanley Parable. Fait que là, on va checker ça. C'est la première fois que j'enregistre ici. J'ai mon nouvel ordi juste à côté que vous ne voyez pas parce que c'est pas dans l'angle. Puis ben c'est ça, je vais mettre petit peu par petit peu des covers des boîtes d'œufs à cause des curves. Ça va faire un coupe-son. Je pourrais aussi acheter un tapis, mais j'ai pas assez d'argent pour ça. Bon, ben c'est ça. Fait que là, on fait le test sans le coupeur de son. Fait que si vous m'entendez en double, c'est à cause de le son qui résonne sur les murs. J'ai un un bureau beaucoup plus grand, beaucoup plus confortable. Fait que, c'est ça, on va jouer. On va commencer le jeu. J'ai jamais joué à ce jeu-là. Never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never is loading. Ok. Fait qu'on va checker ça. Puis j'ai tout mis les graphiques au maximum pour avoir le meilleur de la qualité possible pour vous. Car vous ne méritez que ça. Ok. Bon.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And while others might have considered it soul-wrenching, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Ok. Si je peux pas.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Ok. Come on. Ok, on va checker ça. Comme je vous l'ai dit, j'ai jamais joué. Username access. I hate Monday. C'est une tasse de Garfield. Le chat. Obèse qui pue la marde. Bon, je suis un peu fatigué aujourd'hui. Je peux pas aller là. Je connais même pas les boutons.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Moi, je vais faire le contraire. Ou faire tout ce qu'il me dit. Je vais faire tout ce qu'il me dit. Puis après, on va rejouer le jeu, mais à l'envers. Ok. Boîte jaune. Non, ça va ici.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
How to solve a dispute with a coworker. Let it ball up inside you. Take it out passive, aggressive. Ok, fuck that, j'ai pas le temps de lire ça. Je suis sûr que c'est très drôle, mais on va checker tranquillement. Je pense pas qu'il y ait de bout à couper de ce jeu-là. Non, ouais.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Non, il m'en restait. Mais... Je suis sûr qu'il y a de quoi.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, No path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No
Oh, yeah.
reason to still be here.
C'est good. Je vais l'écouter, c'est mon narrateur, j'ai pas le choix.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Comme j'ai dit, dans cette game-là, je dois le faire tout à l'endroit. La qualité est supposée d'être folle. Ben, folle. Aussi folle que moi, je peux le voir, genre. C'est quoi ça? Ah, executive bathroom. Donc, la toilette exécutive. Oh, t'as vu que c'est... Calisse, j'ai autant de la misère. Je peux pas sauter, spacebar, ça sert à rien. Ok. Quoi ça?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
Holy
Shocked,
shit.
Unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845.
2845.
Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
2845. Ok, mais... Où ça? Ah. Je peux cliquer. 2845.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Oh, ça! C'est bon, ok. 2, 8, 4, 5.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing.
Oh.
He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Alright. Ok. Bon. J'ai hâte de voir ça, c'est quoi? Et là, oui, l'éclairage est mieux parce que c'est des vraies lumières, puis là, je laisse la lumière ouverte. Tabarnak, ok. Ouh. Loading, 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 loading.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Ok. Ah, ça fait vraiment penser à Portal.
Stanley walked
Mais c'est sûr, c'est le même
through a
créateur.
large door that read Mind Control Facility.
C'est que j'ai le goût de faire à l'envers. Ok. Alright.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Ok. Oh.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Oh. Bon, c'est quoi ça?
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Oh.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable.
Okay.
Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Ok. Ça? C'est quoi ça? Comment ça je sache qu'est-ce qui est quoi? Ok, ça fait rien. Control disabled. Mind control offline. Qu'est-ce qu'il y en a? C'est que j'y vois mal. Comment ça je le sache? Ça va pas être très clair. Attends, sauvegarder. Ok, c'est fait. Bon. Mind control. It all awaiting inputs. Ah, ok, ben je vais continuer parce que je sais pas c'est quoi.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for. Blackness. And a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
Yes.
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine. Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. That was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Vas-y.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen.
Là, vous allez vous dire, les graphiques sont pas fous, c'est sûr. Le jeu est fait de même. Succès, beat the game. J'ai réussi, j'ai fini le jeu. The end is never... Ok. Bon, fait que là, ça va mettre fin à cette partie-là, la première partie. Je pense qu'elle était courte, mais ça, c'est une des fins. La fin où ce que je suis, c'est quoi qu'il dit. Je sais pas pourquoi j'ai payé 15$ pour ça, ou 10, parce que je sais plus combien j'ai payé pour ce jeu-là, mais je suis sûr que ça va en valoir la peine, puis que c'est... Ben, jusqu'à là, je trouve ça bien. C'est bon. C'est spécial. Fait que c'est unique. Fait que c'est ça, on s'en va dans la prochaine partie de Stanley Parable. D'après moi, on va la faire tout de suite. Fait que on s'en va dans la prochaine. Passez une très belle soirée. Ciao!